are honored to have with us today BioLargo. We have with us today Dr. Cynthia Phillips, who's an advisor to BioLargo. The company is headquartered in Westminster, California, has technologies that solve challenging environmental problems comprising of PFAS, water contamination, advanced water and wastewater treatment, industrial odor and volatile VOC compounds, control, air quality treatment, control, infection control, and a myriad of environmental remediation solutions. The company has 300 million shares outstanding, trades around 28 cents for 83 million market cap, 3 million of net cash. I'll sit down and we'll have a little presentation followed by Q&A.
Hi, everyone. Really happy to be here. I came in from Arizona, and oddly enough, I live north of Phoenix, and you guys tend to be warmer than me this year for some reason. It's not even Flagstaff. But anyway, it's beautiful to be here. It's the second time I've been privileged to sit next to Tony and do the presentation. So my company is BioLargo. My other company that partners with BioLargo is called 22nd Century by Design. The name comes from recognizing that a child born today will be walking into the 22nd century for the first time in humanity. So what kind of future are we laying for them? So BioLargo is a critical partner to me. I have other folks I work with, but really BioLargo is a core partner because of the people, the technology, and the committed mission that's aligned. Oh, the big one? Okay, there. So BioLargo is a publicly traded company, and we'll focus on them today, of course, and BLGO. They're on the OTC, and you're going to be seeing a lot of them and say, wow, that's an overnight success that took 15 years, right? So it takes, just like some of the people that we talked with today, it's really exciting what they've been doing. So BioLargo represents innovators, scientists, and engineers, and a spirit of entrepreneurship that runs through the company. And we're passionate about sustainability and human health, and we're mission-driven to make life better for all. And together, I really am focused on making sure that all of the technologies are available to everyone on the planet, not just people in the premium markets. And so that's one of the things I help with, is expanding that reach. So we do have best-in-class solutions. It's not a slogan, it's an absolute truth. Can't wait to talk about our PFAS solutions. We focus on problems, not settling, not kicking the can down the road. It's really building solutions, solving real problems, and not having leftover things to figure out what to do with, which is like an IKEA, desk. We have extra stuff laying there, yeah. So, so partnership is a really important word for BioLargo. We have different divisions, and we also have strategic ways of taking the IP, licensing it, creating win-win solutions, and I'll talk a little bit about those today. So there's 4 main commercializing divisions of the technology, and there's a core innovation engine behind it. The BioLargo has the engineering group and then an R&D group in Canada. Clyra is the medical division. We have a battery division. O&M stands for Odor No More, because it really is an Odor No More. That's an environmental division we'll talk about. And also we'll talk about the equipment group, which is where the water technology lays. So this conference is about, we're going to be really talking about the waste and odor, as well as the water today. So they're having a great year, and a great couple of years, BioLargo is. So we're up, our revenues for our income for 2024 is 17.8 million, which is a big jump, you can see. And that's up 24% year over year. And that's driven by one product that's derived by Odor No More that we'll talk about, and also engineering services. But things are going to be busting out with the PFAS work and also our medical division coming up, and we're just going to keep growing as things keep maturing. And it's really exciting to see all these technologies. In my 7 years with them, just to see these things really bust out to like they are. So, and so there's unseen value. It's a kind of hidden value in BioLargo. And the Odor No More division is what is driving a lot of the revenues right now. and the engineering division. But the Clera Medical has, we'll talk about that, some of the things that they're doing, a unique chemistry. The chemistry is derived iodine-based, both for the Odor No More and the Clera, but it just is the way we formulate it, the way we make things happen, just extraordinary change happening that is timely, especially when you have so many things being, especially EU and other regulations around what we're doing with surgical sanitizing and other things. We're here poised to make a big difference. BioLargo, the water division with the PFAS removal technology, capture and removal. I'll talk about quite a bit today. And then we have a new battery, which is a liquid sodium battery. It's nothing like the sodium batteries like CATL and others. It's really transformative, non-toxic, 2.9 times the energy density of lithium, no rare earth minerals. And when we start talking, I'm ready for that tariff question. I'm ready. Right. Well, we're American. Most things that we have in the portfolio are American-made, and we're domestically sourced. So while I help build out opportunities for the battery in Norway and other places, our inputs are no rare earth minerals, domestically sourced materials, and a lot of really good long duration applications. But that's a partial. I have more questions. You can ask me other things about tariffs. So of course we're concerned about tariffs because of the overall economy, and we're a publicly traded company. We care about that, but we are confident that we're going to weather the storm of these policies. As I mentioned, Clera Medical Technologies, we have this Clera Advantage. We're supporting a third-party FDA-compliant manufacturing facility with a $2 million investment that BioLargo has made. BioLargo is special because it really is kind of old-fashioned, if you will. It's, pay as you go, and not taking on a ton of debt, growing slower, growing smarter, and not having to sell out at all for the quality and the integrity of the intentions of the company. So we're looking to have a ready-made, at scale, BioCleanse and other products in 2025, where our lawyer says we can't say an exact time. So we listened to him. So here we're also to talk about a broad spectrum, low waste PFAS capture technology and also efficient destruction. BioLargo is in the forefront of capturing ultra short chain and short chain PFAS molecules, and it uses an electrostatic charge to attract those molecules very efficiently, very targetedly to a membrane. I'm going to see if this works. Oh, it works. Animation. Isn't that exciting this afternoon? Everyone wake up. We've got arrows going to the ceiling. And that's the electrostatic charge. And then going to a membrane. And then that membrane is scraped, if you will, and the PFAS is destroyed with electrooxidization. It sounds simple, and it is in theory, but it's really complex, and it took a while to get perfectly right. But it is a beautiful solution, very efficient. And it's small. That mobile container actually is one of the, has been built. It's that small. It can be that small for, or stacked more. And leachate, we all know, is a difficult thing to deal with. And what we can take raw or treated leachate, and we don't stop. I think someone else was talking about doing 65% and being happy. And we're almost to the 99.9 kind of level. So you can see here from left to right, whatever leachate you're talking. If you want to talk about the foam fractionation treatment, we can take that and not stop at 95%. We'll take you that last mile. So we take the first mile and the last mile. Capture, destroy, solution solved, without creating a lot of cost or a lot of extra waste, which I'll talk about in a moment. This is pretty small, but the cost comparison is pretty extraordinary. In a given year, 27,000, just the annual run cost of about $27,000 to $31,000 for our system, and theirs is quite a bit more. So in a 10-year period, you could be looking at 90% savings. 90%, that's better than Lohman's. So you can go to get this 10% of this, and you can do a lot with a couple $1 million, right? $2.5 million in your pocket over 10 years, and a municipality can go a long way to serve your citizens and also do other great things. So, so we really have a cost competitiveness, and we also have something else that's very special. Well, a lot of these solutions do not get this short chain and ultra short chain, but we do. And we also don't kick the can down the road as a solution. So for every 20,000 gallon a day piece off removal technology, typically you'll see about 20 to 40,000 pounds of spent carbon. That's hazmat. That has to go somewhere and be destroyed. We have 1 to 2 pounds. And then we have an efficient, patented process to destroy that 1 or 2 pounds. So you can see the difference here of, when we're talking at scale, what does that really mean and what can be done efficiently. Whoops. And in Lake Stockholm, New Jersey, we have our first commercial installation going up. So I'm sure they would welcome a visit if you want to visit. It's coming up soon. The team is pretty extraordinary. It's led by Tanya Chandler, who's a water expert. Randy Moore, he's the engineering team for all of BioLargo, and he and his team have solved some big problems. For example, remember the anthrax scare in post office? Those guys figured out how to fix the solution of it. So it's pretty impressive. That's one of the things they did. And also, after Katrina, they helped to pump out Lake Pontchartrain. And so they can do big things and everything with care and integrity, really caring about the human health elements, and also being mindful about the environmental impact. And our board of directors includes Sally Gutierrez, who's EPA, or earlier in EPA, excellent researcher and policy wonk, I guess you would call her, and she was here last year. We had she's great. And Larry Dick, who's one of those grand gentlemen who knows policy and knows how to move within the Metropolitan Water District and water industries around the country. And then Jeff Keitlinger, also an incredibly high integrity person. So all of these people like to solve problems, actually solve them. So that division I had mentioned too, so that's the water. Then we also have odor control. Some of the folks who presented here today are customers, although they won't say they have odor, but they do. And they use our stuff to treat it. And it's called Odor No More, is that division with Cupertine Clean Technology. Again, in this, especially our chemistry is very, very special because it's not toxic, and it really does the trick. And they have odor systems that can be portable or stationary, and our team can create solutions. This is led by Joe Provenzano, the president of Odor No More, and he really is one guy who can solve a problem. No nonsense. And the current industries served are the municipal solid waste, automotive, wastewater treatment, this is on the odor side, asphalt, and food processing. One thing that's been really exciting and has driven significant revenue has been this collaboration with a marketing group to create Poof, which is in the pet space. I have to ask, have you guys seen the commercials where the guy sprays the stuff in his mouth and it's like poof? Yeah, everywhere I go, except maybe, I don't know, I was in France, they hadn't seen him, last year. But it is a non-toxic, it truly is, and he sprays in this commercial a piece of cloth covered with ammonia, which is awful. And the person, it's literally is happening, that the odor is gone. So this partnership has been really extraordinary in the pet space. So they've also have some puppy pads and some other SKUs that they've been working on. BioLargo has been really, really intelligent in how it partners. Again, the licensing and in a specific space, Joe Provenzano works closely with them to create the co-packing and other solutions. So testing happened in 2021. First bottles went to Walmart in 2022, and we're in over 40,000 stores right now, and doing extremely well, catching on in a premium space. And that chemistry has been there, but we finally found, they found this partner. And then I'll be working with BioLargo in the future on different solutions for different verticals as well. But Poof is our, what somebody said, a proof of concept. Yeah. In the commercial viability of Odor No More stuff. I thought that was funny. Thank you. Okay, so then let's see. So these are some of the stores we're in. Amazon, we're still on Amazon. We do Chewy, Walmart with the pet space. The Poof is all over. And And BioLargo operates in all over the world and we operate all over the country with remote employees in Wisconsin, and our where the battery is produced and the engineers are in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. So we really have a nice footprint, and our Canadian team is just brilliant at the R&D and doing great things there that you'll hear about in the near future. So that's my presentation.
Thank you, Cynthia. That was a great overview, and a lot of interesting things going on at BioLargo. Maybe we could just start out. Your technology seems to be initially targeted at commercialization in the U.S. and targeted at U.S. regulations, but in the long term, do you plan on bringing this technology? I know you talked about, we sort of joked about France and Europe, but how are you going to sort of deploy to other countries around the globe?
Well, we're doing one of the things with my company partnering with BioLargo. BioLargo is very open to and wanting to solve problems everywhere and anywhere. And one of the things I'm working on with them would be a good example, because always these technologies are ignored in the global south, the last people to get these premium technologies. And I really think it's an opportunity to harness some talent and do some more. So because the battery can be domestically sourced, not just in the US, anywhere, we have partners in 22nd century Europe, is in Norway, Oslo. We just have, and I found out I was 13% Norwegian, so I'm like, yay, I'm going to get back to homeland. And then we also where our engineers are on the phone with our folks in Mexico and in Zimbabwe even, and the model works in New Jersey, another foreign land. No, but it's a really wonderful way we can have the technology get out there. But it's not a simple thing. I mean, and now with the tariffs and the policy changes, but if we can work together and figure out how to co-locate things like the battery and the water treatment. So that's what we're doing. We have something called Way Forward, which is my company partnering with them and deploying the technology. So Way is WAE, Water, Ag, Energy. We co-locate the battery storage with agrivoltaics and water treatment in rural areas. And then we have, our vision is to have that all connect up to different production facilities as well. And then, and then everyone can make some money and workforce development, but more importantly, have benefit from the solutions. And that works in New Jersey, it works in Arizona, it works in Zimbabwe, it works in Colombia. I mean, it can work. Yeah.
Very, very interesting approach to the market. The companies that presented here today, BioLargo is obviously one of the smaller ones. Can you speak to some of the challenges and opportunities of innovating new technologies in this space? Sure,
and it's capital and it's regulatory environment. As I think 374 Water was discussing, is that Zeldin has made its announcements, his announcements on a commitment to PFAS. And it's slow going because it takes a while for new solutions to be regulatorily approved and recognized. So our solution, it works. It's getting implemented in Lake Stockholm, and it's a journey to get the EPA to include it as a prioritized solution. So what it has is solutions that work on certain things, but they don't work on short chain. What's approved generally doesn't work on short chain or ultra short chain, and you've got only part of the problem is getting solved, but that's part of it. But it just takes a matter of education, and the CEO of BioLargo is relentless. Dennis Calvert, you've met him. He's relentless in just making sure we're having the conversations that need to be had, that we're creating partnerships and friendships, so that we can get out there as quickly as possible. But overcoming obstacles, what I like about BioLargo and I'm proud of is that they have been very smart about their growth under the leadership of Dennis Calvert, and he's also serving on a trade commission advisory now. So you get the wisdom of somebody who really is in the trenches, maybe helping to improve the policy environment for others as well.
I think everyone has agreed, at least today, and just in general talking in the industry, removing PFAS from drinking water is obviously of the utmost importance. What is your view on how to get rid of PFAS more broadly? And I know you talked about your methodology, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, how do you see this being done, maybe long term? What's your vision of long term, how to do this at scale for the entire environment?
Well, it's a lot like plastic, right? We've got to stop it at the spigot, and understand, these things were created with the best intentions, right? PFAS and plastic. So recognizing, where they're the alternative type of inventions that replace the actual function is what needs to be invested in. And I believe your Gabelli investors are certainly going to be interested in those kind of solutions. But they are really unique. They're man-made chemicals. It's really hard to destroy. So, detecting them, creating more solutions, looking at folks who are in the same space, not as competitors, but as allies, and that we all have something to contribute. And the faster we all can move the capital in, and we all can move and encourage our policymakers to make the investment, because one thing I did note, there was an article that came out the last time I was here and we were talking about it, is that PFAS just causes weight gain. So right there, you should be able to market it better than, Wegovy. It's like, get rid of it out of your body and have a healthier body. And just people should be alarmed, though, that's in their bloodstream. Everyone got their blood tested. It's plastic and PFAS are in our bloodstream.
Definitely, nobody wants that. Predictably, there are a few lawsuits and challenges to the PFAS new regulations, or relatively new regulations now. Do you think these represent a real threat to the stability of these rules moving forward? And maybe sort of how do you see I probably not at the final stage of how these classifications are going to be laid out in the long term, and maybe what's your view on the regulations for PFAS?
Well, we welcome the regulations at the level they are, because we can meet that challenge, and we designed to solve the problem. And that doesn't mean other people aren't doing their best. It's just that we're not daunted. We just want to make sure that the technology is understood and granted the appropriate visibility to become adopted more readily. And that's what we hope, because we also we take you that last mile. Anybody doing anything, we'll take you that last mile and destroy that PFAS, and help build better solutions so that you're not kicking anything down the can down the road. And our solutions can be smaller, or they can be scaled. So it's there's no reason we can't all work together and figure it out.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Agreed. From your perspective, what niche do you see BioLargo's technology filling? And I know you sort of went over quite a few technologies. Maybe you could maybe just pick out some more that have, just some that you would want to maybe to emphasize a little more.
Well, definitely the PFAS. We're here with the PFAS solution. The odor no more is extraordinary. It really, it does work, and you can spray it in your mouth. But I think you get to see the through line here. It's all about non-toxic, safe for humanity, safe. The poop stuff's safe on the skin, and it nourishes your skin. So as opposed to Febreze, I don't know if I'm maybe not allowed to say brand names, but things on the market that are a multi-billion-dollar market have carcinogenic things in them. It's not, you don't want your pet walking on it. So, but the battery coming up is extremely exciting, because it has a chance to have. Lithium had its, there's things that people do the best they can, and things catch on, and now you could have an option here to have long duration battery storage that doesn't have rare earth minerals, which how we get those rare earth minerals is most times inhumane, and we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that anymore. We're better than that as inventors and humans. We just got to understand those supply chains and those processes, because this battery will outperform for long duration any of these things. And think about what's happening with maritime issues and other things with windmills in the ocean and the batteries. Do you want a lithium battery that can blow up in the ocean? Imagine. Our battery is. I asked Randy Moore, the president of BioLargo Engineering, and the key. His team is key in bringing this battery to the market. He said, it's almost biblical. It's like ashes to ashes, dust to dust kind of thing. It's like everything in that battery can be found in the ocean. And And that's what you want, a solution that can be appropriate. And think about what's happening too. We like heat. That battery loves heat. We have no runaway fire risk. And in fact, it also doesn't mind the cold. So the casing you put on it, so you know your car, how many people have had your car battery just die in the winter, right? You know, I used to live in Michigan, so I'm in Arizona now. But it breaks, you know, the batteries are toxic, they break in the cold and so on, and you have to replace it. All that happens with ours is it might poop out a little bit, and you start it back up. And that's a cost saving that's dramatic when you're talking about grid systems and everything else. And also, if you think about how the Arctic Ocean and the fascination about Greenland right now, it's darn cold out there, and we have a battery that can grow with those aspirations in terms of the Arctic. I went to the Swedish embassy not long ago for an event where they were talking about the Arctic opening up, the trade route. Fascinating, really fascinating. The maritime. The maritime folks are you know, they are just no nonsense. I think if I pick them to, you know, stranded island, take the maritime people. But but opening that up and being there, functioning with the Arctic trade route is something that's going to happen in our lifetimes, maybe, and start emerging. So we have to have solutions that are anticipatory, but also there's going to be a lot of, you know, ocean travel and things like that. We have a battery that will not harm the oceans. You know, will not harm life in the ocean, will not harm humans. It's non-toxic. So the people making the batteries are not at risk. The people making the inputs for the batteries are not at risk. And that consumer with a BioLargo salinity battery in their home is not at risk. In fact, they're nurtured by our technology. So instead of NIMBY, yesterday I was talking in New Jersey about stuff, and I said, let's have it be PIMBY, please, in my backyard. That's what we're doing.
You've just generated a new acronym.
I know.
Very well done.
Copyright.
That's wonderful. Well, you know, Cynthia, that was just a great overview. I love having BioLargo here and learning more about what you do. And you've got a great business, and we'd love to have you back next year and see all of your growth and success. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for your attention.